Yeah, so it actually wouldn't even be Lord necessarily. He could be like the 6th Earl of Eggington.
Yeah.
Oh,
Something
God.
of that nature, yes.
Can I suggest we make a family tree for Lord Eggington at this point?
I am currently trying to construct a family tree for something else. I really don't need another one. So I'll leave it to you.
I can take care of the...
We'll use the
effort.
ancestry tools, and then we'll just put them on Ancestry and
Oh my
see
gosh.
how many people
Because
accidentally
the question is,
ahead
how
of it.
far back does it
I
stretch?
expect a heraldic crest of some sort.
Yes.
I can draw that.
Yeah, how far back does it stretch? Because, you know.
Yeah, like at what point?
It's gonna have a
At
chicken
what
on
point did the sovereign bestow the title and the lands?
Yes, and what did the first...
It goes all the way back to King Alfred,
What
the
did the
first of
Oh.
England.
Are you kidding me? Do you realize how powerful Lord Eggington would be if that were the case?
Yes!
The royals didn't even have a line that stretched that
But
far
what if there were
back.
some chaotic times like the Dark Ages? The Eggington line got scrambled.
Oh.
And without further ado, bad joke, segue right into episode 40.
That
Seriously,
was
we
the
hit 40
worst
today.
segue ever.
Wow. 40, okay.
You can already tell, like, the royal watchers from the nod and, like, this 2-minute intro that we've had.
I
yep,
haven't
I'm like,
seen anything.
So, dear
made my head
listeners,
hurt.
today's episode, if you haven't
Caught
detected, is about Downton Abbey.
How would they have guessed that from how we led into this?
But also, I'm sorry, what?
Wait, Downtown
It's about
Abbey.
what?
Downtown Abbey.
No.
What?
I know that you're street name,
Downton
Andy, but
Abbey. To clarify for all of you people.
Thanks for clarifying for us peasants.
I really hope somebody heard what I
I
just said.
can't
underneath all
do
this.
it.
Kind of. I did hear that.
What? missed it.
I hope it comes through on the recording.
I do too.
What's
to be
hilarious
honest.
to me is all the fans who refer to it as Downtown, despite the fact that that show does everything in the world to say the word Downton every episode about 50 times.
Yeah.
Just
what
to
about the
drive
legacy
home.
of Downton?
There's barely a downtown in the village of Downton.
You're right.
However, before we dive too deep into the topic at hand, I think Lord Eggington's caretaker should go forth first and describe what he is reading, watching, or playing.
I'm in mourning.
You're in mourning. Why are you in mourning, Grant?
Oh, you
Lord
finished?
Egg?
You finished
Why do you
reading
think?
Absalom, didn't you?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
I'm still working on
Okay.
it.
Why are you in mourning? Why?
Because Lord Eggington's dead.
Oh, that's right. I
Everybody
forgot.
Long may
insists
he
on
reign.
bringing him back and back and
I
back.
forgot he died.
It's
But
like-
isn't
it's
there
like a whole Jesus
another Lord
situation.
Eggington, or did
The line is broken!
Oh,
It got scrambled.
it went
There were-
bankrupt.
There were no direct male descendants, and the entail was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
He went down on the Titanic.
And all of the daughters were lesbians. Continue.
Okay, yeah. I'm tired, but also I'm still reading Absalom. And I realized that last time I didn't really talk about the plot of it.
Okay.
There is one?
There's a plot. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, okay.
I-
Faulkner doesn't strike me as a plot person, but
well,
tell me.
in some ways yes, some ways no. I mean, it's about so in a microcosmic sort of sense, it's covering the rise and fall of this guy called Thomas Sutpen, who shows up into this county sometime before the Civil War, and just a whole bunch of weird stuff goes on. However, on a larger scale, it's about the rise and fall of the Old South. You know, the moral vacuity of that whole society. And I don't know, it's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Honestly, it sounds compelling.
Yeah, it's told from a few different narrators. It's not like Rashomon or whatever, where you'll see, where like you'll get the same thing over and over from different perspectives. It's more like you get different parts of the story from different people as you go along, and then it builds a larger picture.
Also, it's very
Towards the end.
similar to what I'm reading right now.
Yes.
Well, we might as well move on. What are you reading?
Yes, so I finally done it, and I'm actually glad I've started. I am currently reading physically, the physical copy of A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin.
Dun-dun-dun-dun,
Which,
dun-dun-dun.
If you made it through the prologue and we're still willing to keep going, I salute you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, like, the prologue always stopped me before. So then I watched the show.
Kind of sucks.
I watched the whole show, and then I'm like, oh, okay, so I get how this is going to go. I know the prologue is kind of going to be like, But after a page, I was like, oh, I don't mind this prologue. It's not bad. And it is mercifully short compared to Robert Jordan's prologues. So, got through it. It was good, did its thing. But the real sauce is in those chapters. God, that man he's a genius. He is a ridiculous technical genius. He deserves all of the accolades, and it makes me sick to say that because I'm only 60 pages in, and I'm like, I hate how good you are. I'm taking notes, which I don't do easily. And then I'm also reading, or listening to, actually, the audiobook for another book, which is really good. It's called The Steel Remains by Richard K. Morgan, and it's also an epic fantasy in which these three heroes live in a land and they do things, and lots of killing.
It's an epic fantasy, okay.
Yeah, lots of killing, lots of sexing, lots of both. I haven't gotten to a scene where it's happening at the same time, but this author strikes me as the kind of author who would try to make that happen at the same time. And it's so well written that I would lean in. Like, I'd be like, wow, you made that work. So, it's good so far.
You'll have to let us know if that gets there.
It's demented, but in a lovely way. Arid!
I have a list.
Okay.
I'm currently doing multiple things at once because, when am I not? I'm skimming through The Sparrow because book club.
Book club.
And, I want to suffer.
Have you joined Steph Fix Book Club yet?
You should.
Yeah.
And then it's on my list. I'm currently finishing this, and then I'm going to finish it. I'm going to start reading Empire Dirt.
Nice.
Because Jen gave me her copy.
My Arc of Empire of Dirt by Francesca Manfredi.
Oh, that one. Okay, got it. Yes.
And then, manga-wise, I actually have it in my hand. I'm going to pretend that it's not called Pitchy Pitchy Pitch, and I'm going to call it Mermaid Melody, which is, what the anime is called. And it's basically about a girl named Lucia, and she is a mermaid princess, and she's currently trying to find all 7 pearls. 7 pearls, 7 seas. Because all of them are a different mermaid. And they're trying to save the world from, dying. But at the same time, she's in love with the local surfer boy in her school. And so it's kind of adorable. But also at the same time, I'm like, this is everything I love in life. And then I'm also playing Celesta, Crown of the Magister, which is kind of like a D&D style kind of game.
Oh, cool.
It's a CRPG, which is obviously D&D style, but not exactly. There's not a lot of role-playing elements in there. You can create your characters. You can go do things. The writing's a little bit lackluster, but, I'm still getting a kick out of it.
Of course it is. It's an RPG.
There's literally a whole entire sequence right now. You get a crown, and this crown is apparently the Crown of the Magister, obviously, name on the tin. But it's there's gemstones that are in pieces, and you have to find all the gemstones to be able to defeat this, lizard people who have come in, and, context, there were humans on another planet and elves on another planet, and the lizard people attacked the humans, and the humans were forced to move into the elf people planet, and
Sure.
That goes over well.
Now the lizard people are back because they aren't done yet, and the rift is now reopened or something like that, and you have to go do that. I'm currently in a volcano world where there are orcs. And I literally had a whole entire conversation with one of my characters, they had a conversation with each other about the word for non-orc in Orcish language and piece of blank in Orcish language, and one of the characters can speak Orcish, and so they were fighting over it for a good 5-10 minutes. It was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen.
That's funny.
And that's, what I'm doing.
Nice.
Jen,
Okay.
so.
I literally just before work this morning finished reading Bloomsbury Girls by Natalie Jenner.
Okay.
You finished that already?
Yeah.
We gave it to you Monday.
Yes, you did. And?
It took you that long?
Yeah, I had to work. But it was good. There were a couple of moments where I felt like a lot of the character moments were being told more than they were shown, but I really loved the 3 main characters. We're all different employees at a bookshop in Bloomsbury in 1950, right post-war. A lot of sort of women trying to figure out their place in the new society after, after everyone stepped up during the war, and then they were all told to go back in their box when all the men came home. So that was good. Very satisfying.
Nice.
And then I'm starting a reread of Daisy Jones and the Six.
Oh, cool. Nice.
That was a great audiobook too.
I can, because it's an oral history, so it would lend itself very well.
And I'm trying to think,
to
like,
an
it
audiobook.
won. I'm trying to think which Audi's category it won. It might have been in the running for... No, it didn't win the best audiobook of the year. But it had some really, really amazing competition.
Yeah. If you've ever
that
wanted
year.
fictional, vaguely Fleetwood Mac-esque band shenanigans
Yeah.
with one of Taylor Jenkins Reid's signature, like, last 85%, here's a plot twist you would have never seen coming kind of moments, this is for you. Same thing happened in Evelyn Hugo.
Nice.
By Fleetwood Mac, ask, do you mean everybody's involved with each other?
Yes.
Okay.
They write this one absolute blockbuster album, and then they immediately break up like 2 years afterwards.
Now I have "You Can Go Your Own Way" stuck in my head. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
There was a moment where you had to, in the audiobook, you almost, the way it was written, because I haven't actually physically opened the book, I've just listened to it, but like until your ears attuned to like the different voices, because a couple of them in the audiobook sound similar.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That you're just like, what is going on? Like, who is who? Because they
Yeah.
don't do a good job. I don't know
As
the
much
book.
in the book's written like it's an oral history, so it's like script style. Like Daisy says, no, Billy, Camila, like all of them have their names at the beginning of each line. Of the
That would make it a
speaking,
little
so
bit
it's much
easier.
to, sometimes you forget like who's who in regards to like every member of the Six has their own perspective, and so
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, wait, were you the drummer or the bassist? But
Right. Yeah.
Andy,
I am reading. Actually, I do got to give it a shout out. Just current event-ish related kind of stuff. Even the book came out like 3 years ago. Hood Feminism
Yeah.
by Nikki.
Mickey.
Yeah.
I had to look at it.
Kendall.
Mickey Kendall. She's great narrator as well for the book. It'll leave you angry.
I'm always angry. I
At
don't
the
know what you're talking
The
about.
incredible Supreme Overlord. over
Maybe
here.
just a little, yeah.
But no, that was really, really quite a wonderful book. A lot to learn, a lot to get frustrated at. I'm, based on Emily Chase's recommendation, I'm reading The Cruel Prince by Holly Black.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really enjoying it. It's
Yay!
everyone did.
there are a
Holly's
few little
good.
things in there like right off that are a couple little things that are bugging me a tiny bit, but I can't even remember what they are right now. I have to be experienced, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. But like overall, it's a very, very delicious fantasy that plays on the whole idea that the different fantasy races have like different realms. Like we're in the fairy right now, and we're dealing with like, and it's wonderful like the way each fairy manifests a little bit differently. Like one may have more of a bestial aspect, or one might have more of a like appearance of someone that has like plant life or vegetation growing on them, and all of them smell a little differently. And then there are these human siblings that are being raised by one of the, I keep wanting to call them Fae because I play D&D, but one of the fairy generals, and
I mean, it's the same thing.
yeah,
It's-
but it's
Basically, yeah.
it's really quite fun. I'm about 3.5 hours from being finished. The doo-doo hit the fan,
Yep.
and it's stuff's going bonkers right now, and it's, of course, if they turn into a romantic interest, I will be a little upset. It thrusts together the dire enemies of the teen
I
realm.
am 100% sure that this series ends with them being like a very twisted power couple. I'm pretty sure that is the entire
I'm pretty
point.
sure it's enemies to lovers going on here.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
nobody ever said it was
you
healthy,
know.
but like I'm pretty sure if I only ever read the first one, but I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about. They are the point.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know.
I love Holly.
I don't know. I'm not really reading anything else right now. I'm just like going through that. I am playing the living heck out of Grand Theft Auto 5 because I've been on that kick for. I needed something, and this is giving me exactly what I want.
Every time I go on Discord, I see him
Sometimes that's
playing
just
it,
what
and
you
I just go, okay.
And it's a despicably awful game. There's so much wrong with it. It's vile. It shouldn't exist, and I love it.
I mean, it's a video game. That's the point.
Right?
You're not actually robbing people because you can do it virtually.
Which is actually kind of funny. Like I don't, other than a lot of the story elements, unless there's an achievement attached to like certain more like it's like weird little dynamic in this game because like I play like Star Wars games where you can go light side or dark side. I can never go dark side because I don't want to be evil. I want to be good. I don't want to be bad. And here I am playing Grand Theft Auto.
That is so weird. Whenever I'm in Lord of the Rings, I love playing as an orc because I like hearing the dying screams of the humans because I'm an orc. Like, they pissed me off. You shouldn't have killed my orc cousin. I'm going to kill you. Like, there's always a justification. Come on.
But yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing.
I considered speaking to someone about this.
It's a video game. That's the point.
In full fairness, so I do at the end of it, whenever I save my game for the night and I'm about ready to sign off, I do find a place where I can just start unloading all of my ammunition on the unsuspecting populace to see how many stars I can get, how many cops I can get after me before I'm like, when it gets to like a fevered pitch, I know there's no way I can win, then I'm like, okay, power down.
See,
that's basically my whole play style. Like, I've never beaten the campaign. I just screw around. See how long.
That's literally me playing Saints Row every single day.
I love it.
So, moving on.
We're gonna go into some more regal things.
This is some of us are going to take a figurative back seat, maybe even a literal back seat, because this is really the Jen and Tony show.
Did any of you actually get the chance to watch any
No.
of this? Cool.
I watched the
I had
trailer for the
homework.
new era.
Cool.
Oh my god.
I need to watch it. I think I'm going to enjoy it.
The first season is 6 episodes.
We've known about this podcast
I
for
had
how many
homework.
months?
Okay, you were excused.
I don't know about you guys. I watched the whole season. It was great.
Like,
it was beautiful.
The
Wait, did you
first
really?
He's lying.
We started with
He's
the
lying.
Titanic, and then it kind of ended with a 5-episode arc where Maggie Smith went on a whole rant about Israel and stuff. That wasn't
Yeah.
expected.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you really did watch the first season?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
That is not how season 1 ends.
I watched half of the first episode.
Hey, better than nothing.
It was pretty to look at, though.
Yes, there are some
I
excellent
imagine.
visuals in
I
the show.
imagine.
That's one of its benefits.
Well, given that it takes place in the late teens, 1920s-ish time frame, I mean, there's a
Begins
lot
with
to
the
like.
sinking of the Titanic.
And then we go to
there's
the
a
war.
year. There's a year right there.
The war.
There's a lot to like in that kind of that general time period, but again, it started with the sinking of the Titanic. We're like what 7 seasons in?
6.
6.
And 2 movies. What's the time span like?
So it starts in 1911, the sinking of the Titanic.
12,
and
1912.
Is that 1912?
Yes.
Yeah, it is 1912. That is 1912. Sorry, I'm helping to write a musical that starts in 1911, and the sinking of the Titanic is a part of it. Anyway, so 1912, and then the series ends in pre-World War II.
Are we all the way in the 30s by then? I didn't think we had really hit the depression.
Like the late
or
20s, I
anything.
think.
Yeah.
And the Depression is an American thing, not a.
But I thought there were
British
like
thing.
worldwide repercussions to the depression.
There were.
I
There
probably,
were.
but I couldn't
There
tell you
were.
what they
like
were.
I feel and like I feel like we would have heard about Grandma, not Violet, other Grandma, American.
Oh
Grandma.
yes, we would have heard about her.
She would have had some issues with that.
But then, yes, so it's pre-Depression. So I think late 20s is when the series ends. The movie, the first one, they have the royal family, and I have a trouble with this because it's like Elizabeth, I think, is like tiny
Yeah, no, I think it's
at this point.
I think it's Edward. I think it's the Nazi.
It's the Nazi brother. I know that, but because at the end of the series, he's just started dating what's her name, that he ended up
Wallace
advocating
Simpson?
for. Wallace Simpson, yes, because she's the whole plot point.
Yes.
And a love letter between them is a whole plot point. So that dovetails with the movie in a weird kind of not really way, because then they just choose Princess Mary to focus on for some reason that no one can. Anyway, don't get me started with the movie, the first one. And I don't know when the second one is set. 19
I would
something.
assume we must be hitting the 30s, but like they're still dressed vaguely 20s, but we've got to be hitting the early 30s at this point.
Well, yeah, because movies, they're making a movie at Downton.
Yeah.
So there's
According to
something like that.
Wikipedia, the 6th and final season is the interwar period, which is around the 30s.
The interwar period is literally every time from 1919 to 1939.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, but also no.
But I believe this is the one that's after the 1920s. 'Cause it's like it does the election of 1923 in season 5.
Yeah, so we're in
Yeah.
like the late 20s by the end of the show.
Yeah.
Mid to late.
Wow.
I had to Google it.
I I was reading a little bit, and I still don't feel like I've read anything. I was actually distracting myself on a couple different forums by people talking about back and forth. Which leads into a question for the two of you, because I really did not know any of the names. I know, isn't Maggie Smith the Dowager Count? Wait,
Yeah,
Dowager
she is the
of
Dowager
Grantham.
Countess.
which, respect, I love you, Maggie Smith. You're the only actress I actually recognize.
Well, okay, yes.
Well, that I
Carry on.
personally recognize.
No,
in the
no, I
show.
know, because the
maybe
rest
there's
of
another
them
one
are-
I've seen, but
Yeah. Well, you have seen one from season 1, but she doesn't show up anymore except for one random episode. later on.
Who was that?
Rose Leslie.
Leslie, yeah. You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Rose Leslie's in season 1 of Downton.
she was pretty delicious.
This is her
comes-
pre
she
her
comes
pre
back,
Game of Thrones.
Like season 6. She
Yeah,
comes
for,
back for
like,
like
one episode.
literally one final episode to like just put a little bow on
like a
everything.
scene.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
So, who are the major players?
This is like a 15-person main cast.
Who are the main players? Okay, this is a downstairs, upstairs.
Everyone in the
drama.
house.
Yeah, everyone in the house. They're the major players. So the house,
Cliff
Downton
Notes.
Abbey.
Who are the biggest characters that we should be watching?
No, you don't
All
understand.
of
You don't
them.
understand. In Downton Abbey. Okay, Downton Abbey is a house. This is a classic upstairs, downstairs drama. There's the family that lives upstairs. All of them are important. And then there's the downstairs.
Mom, dad's mother, 3 daughters, all of whom need to get married.
Yes. And then there's the downstairs crew, which is everybody's servant. And
Butler, housekeeper, maids, cook, kitchen maids, under butlers.
Yes.
Okay,
all
talk
of
about the
them.
family then.
The family? Okay.
The Crawleys.
Upstairs.
Do we want to? What do you want to know about the family?
Give us a cliff notes.
Who are they?
Oh God.
Who are they, and why should we care?
Okay, clear something up for me right
Yeah.
now. Having only seen half of an
Yes.
episode, are these Crowleys related to the famous Aleister Crowley?
We can only
British
hope.
No, because Aleister Crowley is spelled with a Crowley, and although he might be related, they would quickly disavow him.
See, because I would watch a show about a house.
That
run
would
by
be
Aleister Crowley.
entertaining. I would fully watch that, admittedly.
There probably is something out there.
I want to
Never know.
see. They're invented. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
There is no such place in England known as Downton Abbey.
So lies.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like
well,
it's
duh.
fiction.
Yes, it is. I mean, you know.
It's a fictional
Yes,
television
it's-
show.
It's Victorian
Yes.
novel, but it's a TV show. Except it's not set in the Victorian period. It's set in the Edwardian period because why not?
The set is in
Crowley?
Hampshire.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, the Crawley family are doing their best to navigate, especially post season 2 and post war, the interwar period in which the aristocracy was severely declining and has not recovered. Their entire way of life, this whole like we manage tenant farmers who still work the land with like their mules, is falling to pieces, and it will not pay all of the upkeep on these farms, on their own big house, on their lifestyle, all of that kind of thing.
Yes.
So it is a lot about how do we navigate this shifting society, especially post-war, and how that kind of shakes up the country a little bit with all of the socialism we start seeing.
And the reason that it begins with the Titanic is because the heir to their title and to the house is on the Titanic.
Yes, because
And he does not survive.
as we said, they only have 3 daughters, and the house is
why doesn't he
intact.
survive? What happened to the Titanic?
Get out.
Yes.
They made a wrong turn.
Yeah.
They've been right.
Quite
Yes.
literally.
So, yes, the oldest is.
Yes, they only have 3 daughters. The lineage is written up in such a way that the eldest daughter cannot inherit. It has to go to the closest male relative. So it has also been planned since.
Well,
basically-
she could technically inherit one, or she could never inherit the title. And the reason that she can't inherit the money is because of the entail, because it's all tied up together. That kind of sucks. Yeah, that's the whole argument of season 1. Is how can we get Mary to inherit? Because, well, she's still around, she's hard to marry off, and she ain't getting no younger.
Well,
so
also, does she not just deserve? Like, what is the point of having it go to the closest male
Correct.
relative?
And
So-
who's this character that needs to get married off? Is that I keep seeing the name Mary?
Mary, yes, Mary's the oldest daughter. Mary is
It was
getting up there. She's hard to.
It was understood that she was going to marry
The heir
their
to
distant cousin who was going to inherit the estate to keep
Yes.
everything, keep the direct descendant in the picture, marry her off to the
Yes.
closest male relative, keep everything in as neat of a line as they can manage it.
Correct.
They're not so closely related that the kids were going to come out with 6 fingers or anything.
Not that they would have cared. But, her American mother is very much like, she deserves the money because it was once mine.
Yeah,
And
her American mother is like, okay, when my father died, I got half of his money.
Yes.
Why is it that when I die, your screwed up class system is going to keep my daughter from having her rights?
Yes, but Mary's dowager countess grandmother, who is very, very British and very, very aristocratic, is like, that's not how it works. She's not going to get the title, because women never get titles. And she's not getting your money because my husband was a jerk. So if we can, give her something, because she's difficult, we'll try.
But then it turns out that their new heir is Dan Stevens.
Yes, and he's the son of
attractive.
a country solicitor.
I did see that he was in the cast, now that I think about that. And is he better looking than he was at the end of Beauty and the Beast? Because when they made that transformation, I'm like, oh, he looked better furry.
First of all,
change it back.
Dan Stevens is a dream, but not because he's necessarily beautiful, but because he's charming.
It's both.
He's attractive physically.
I see where we're going.
Yeah, he is
this.
physically attractive.
This is okay.
But there are plenty of cast members on both sides of the stairs who outstrip him in that number. He's got a charm, though, that will knock you to the floor, and it's unfair. Like, he just says something, and it doesn't matter if he's trying to be nice or not. That whole dinner scene in season 1 where Mary thinks she's got one on him, where she's like, have you heard of the what is that stupid Theseus and the sea monster?
Yeah.
She's like, have you heard the Greek myth, blah blah blah, and she's trying to like basically say, you're a sea monster, why would I marry you? And he's like, ha, joke's on you, I know the myth. And like, he says the nastiest thing he can with a frown on his face while eating dinner, and I'm just like, marry me now. Because he's charming. It's ridiculous. That's the whole show. It's conversations.
Yep.
Largely at dinner.
Yes.
It's kind of
if you
an
cannot handle
like
people
old English
talking.
version of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Basically, yes, it is like Star Trek in the sense that if you can't handle people talking, yeah, you don't watch the show. But also,
yeah, there are some war moments. You do see a couple of, explosions and stuff when they're all in the trenches in France, but
oh sure, yeah.
But
yeah.
that's not by any means the driving force of this show.
No.
Oh, random, but I meant to tell you the other day that I did watch Cyrano. It's pretty good.
Excellent.
It's not a banger musical, of course, but like it was quite lovely.
It's a musical?
It is a musical.
I didn't know.
It sure is a musical.
I didn't know until I checked it out, and they're
Why
like,
did
"Oh,
we never get a
you
musical
said it. Oh, it's a
Downton
musical."
A musical Downton Abbey episode, that just would have been a little bit over the top.
But as opposed to the rest of the incredibly understated
The
television
cast of
show.
Riverdale opens up and comes through a portal into
I
Downton Abbey.
cannot believe that on Netflix, when
Done
you
by the cast
hover-
of Sabrina.
when you hover over Downton
Yeah.
on Netflix, and it's
Yeah.
doing that little 3-word description that it shows you for every show,
Mm.
cerebral and understated are 2 words that are used to describe Downton Abbey
No.
on Netflix.
Get out.
I think
Are you
when people,
serious?
I think when people hear a British accent, they automatically think ooh, understated.
When I
intelligent.
first watched this and I was texting Tony my feelings, I was like, I thought this was prestige drama. This was on PBS.
Okay, I'm just going to clarify this. It is my favorite television show of all time. I watch it biannually.
Ooh.
Not biannual. What is that, twice a year?
It can
Yeah.
mean either every 2 years or twice a year.
Well, I mean twice a year. I watch it in the first 3 months of the year. I failed to do that this year. And I watch it in the last 3 months of the year. Every year. So, she's not wrong. However, I did not watch it that way. I think I just, it is totally a soap opera. But I didn't care. I was just like, I love all of this. Every single frame.
None of this is not meant to say that obviously, I loved it.
Right, yes.
I'm just saying what I expected going in was not what I got.
Yeah, and I don't know, to be perfectly honest, I caught Downton way too early. I caught it literally in first season as first season was airing, so I have no idea how it gained traction as this.
Oh, yeah, no, I just came to it last year, and so I had 10 years of everyone going, this is prestige television.
Yeah,
in my
people
head.
do talk talk about it as if it is like,
the smartest thing they've ever seen on television.
and
This
it's
is that
not.
BBC.
It really is not.
was it on the BBC?
No.
Yes.
Okay.
But like it's got
In
the
the UK, I think.
In the UK, I
Get
think,
the
yeah.
prestige.
Obviously, it was on PBS here, but I didn't remember if it was BBC or Channel
I
4 or what.
think, it may have been Channel 4. I don't remember. But the other thing that I have to say very hard here, because I want you to all understand, the crack historian in me has to say this. It ain't real.
No,
Like, it's not trying to be real. For one thing, it takes one viewpoint. The aristocrats. Yeah, okay, the downstairs people are characters and you're supposed to care about them and love them, but they are viewed entirely through the lens of the aristocrats, because an aristocrat wrote the show. So, like...
You mean Julian Fellows is on the side of the aristocracy
yeah,
here?
He's literally like descendants of a baron or something like that. Like, it's not supposed to tell you a great deal about history from an honest perspective. It's just saying some things happened and these people might once have lived in that time period, and here's some stuff that they might have said at some dinners that might have been thrown. So just thinking.
Although it feels realistic in that way that, like, it feels true to how you would imagine them to. Yes and no.
I think it's plausible. Like, I
guess that's the word I want.
Like, the
It's like it
plausibility
feels
is high.
plausible.
Yes, but I think one of the things that separates it from The Crown for me is that, like, even in The Crown's peak moments of drama, there are moments where I'm willing to roll up to Windsor Castle and fight the Queen for Diana. Like, I'm just like, girl, even though I know, like, maybe it wasn't quite as I'm being shown, because how could you have known that? Because you weren't really there with your camera crew. But, like, it I don't know if that's just a change of mood or I don't know. But, like, The Crown is well researched. Downton doesn't need to be. Like,
yes. They are, but they're doing two different things.
Yeah, they are.
And also,
right.
like,
yes.
Nobody is ever going to dare to make a television show, at least not in the current era that we live in our lifetimes, that is, like, anti-Diana. Just nobody is ever going to do that.
But, to veer off slightly, The Crown did at least, like, push the line a little bit. Like, they didn't make her into this, shrinking violet.
We can pop some of the mythology around it, but nobody is ever going to be like, I think Charles was right, actually.
No, but he was sympathetic, which I appreciated.
Yes.
Because, anyway, we're not going there. Back to Downton.
And then downstairs. Who's your favorite downstairs person?
That is such an unfair question, because...
Who are your top three?
My top three. That's easy. Okay.
We should have a watch party.
Mrs. Patmore.
I'm down for that.
Because Mrs. Patmore starts off as the one-liner queen. Like, as soon as she tells Daisy, get that upstairs or I'll knock you down and serve your brain as fritters, on board. And I think that's episode 1. So I'm just like,
early.
Queen. So she's my favorite. Thomas is my second favorite, because I love a complicated, dark character who's peak selfish and motivated by something that modern audiences can actually, like, dig into, even if they would never be him.
As opposed to O'Brien and all of them?
Yeah, as opposed to O'Brien, who I want to murder every time she's on screen, because she's just mean to be mean. I hate her so much. And then my third favorite, I kind of have to say Mrs. Hughes.
Mrs. Hughes is great. There's
even
nothing wrong
though
with that.
Anna is Anna. So that's hard. Tie for Mrs. Hughes and Anna.
Okay.
We'll go there.
As they both deserve.
Yes, because I know that you're all about Anna, right?
I do love her. I love Anna. I don't understand how Anna and Mr. Bates had to spend 6 seasons as the collective punching bag.
They're
of the
there to
Crawley
literally bait the audience.
Get out.
I had to, no, I'm serious. I remember, I broke this down for Jen once, and she texted me back. She's like, oh my God, I hate you. Because I was like, you do realize, like, their surnames are, like, their surnames for a reason. Like, the Crawleys aren't just the Crawleys because it sounds good. It's because they have to crawl to success throughout the entire show. The Bates are there to bait you through the plot. I mean, like, Mrs. Patmore, you pat a cake more and more and more. I know, it sounds nuts, but, like, That's
Mr. Fellows, if you're listening, will you tell us if Tony's right?
I could be completely wrong. I could
Tag
just be,
them.
Yeah.
Tag them.
I
please.
really could be buying into that a lot more than is there. But
Like, I think you're doing that, like, is it symbolism or is it just you want it to be symbolism?
it's not even symbolism, because that's not good I mean, that's crap, right? But this is a thing in like, there's a name for it, and I can't remember what it is, but this is very common in, like, Victorian British literature, especially, where you name the character based upon their role. So you would name a cook Mrs. Patmore because what is her job? It is to,
Personification.
Well, just like however...
Wait, how
It's
does
not
Patmore
personification.
have anything to do with cooking?
pat a cake.
You pat
Yeah.
more.
Pat
You're
more,
kneading
more.
bread.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean,
I thought maybe, but I'm like, no, that's weird.
no. I mean, yeah, it could, and I
Now I
think.
gotta Google it.
I mean, J.K. Rowling does a little bit of this in Harry Potter. I mean, if you look at, Tolkien does this in Lord of the Rings, and George Martin, even though he's not British, oh my God, it's all over the place
Well,
in Game of
he's
Thrones.
doing War of the Roses, so...
Yeah, right. So it's a thing in fiction that and maybe again there are allowances
Afternoon?
like.
It's not so different in like D&D now that I think about it, like D&D lore.
Mhm.
I mean, characters are named respective, like particularly dwarves
Yeah,
or
right.
gnomes.
Yeah.
They're named frequently after like their kind of like either family lineage or what their family's role was.
Yeah.
I mean, character like in Flint Fireforge. What do you think they did?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right. So
I'm going to go off on a limb and think I think they worked a forge, but they could have been bakers. No.
get out. So do you have any more questions? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Oh no! Actually, we ran through them already really quick. I am looking up inflammatory,
We're so good at
unpopular opinions.
Like favorite sister.
Actually, I did have a question about like some of the historical aspects of it. Like you said, it probably wasn't well researched. Like obviously they're fictional characters.
Like, I think well enough that, like, they had to follow the war when they got to the war.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
you can't have
basic
yeah.
historical acknowledgement.
Yeah, like
happens.
stuff that you could just go, oh yeah, I knew that to be true, but it's not like nitty gritty. Like, no, I doubt he opened a book of research at all because he didn't have to.
He just Wikipedia'd it.
Well, he's lived in England, his whole life, and he studied, and he's the Baron. So I mean, he has all these.
So
things.
who's the writer? Who is the
Julian Fellows? He is some member of the House of Lords.
Yeah, he has some kind of weird aristocratic heritage, but I don't remember what it is exactly. Fellows with an ES at the end.
I found it.
Yes. So, look up Promogenitor to figure out exactly where he fits in, because I don't remember, and it's not really that high, and it doesn't really matter anymore. But, what was your
Seeing if he has
historical
a-
question?
No, I just historical accuracy. I mean, do you think it's good? It is accurately representative of the aristocracy.
Oh, ooh. Ooh.
Because it makes me wonder a little bit, like when you watch certain TV shows, like things are. I'm going to
Crowleys
say the
are
Hollywood effect.
Remarkably
But-
open to certain class things.
Yeah, I would say that the whole point of them, it is a romanticized view of the aristocracy,
Yeah.
because it's supposed to be like.
Yeah, there are some Cinderella type moments in
Yeah.
Downton Abbey that don't necessarily, like, given how Diana was treated, as somebody who even was already like a very minor member of like the gentry. Downton would have had her like winning the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, it would have been, she would have gone through some stuff, Edith. But even this is another thing. Even the sisters, you talk about, this is why I love this show so much, because it takes all of the tropes of the century that we call well, not really a century, but Victorian literature feels like it goes on for a century.
Yeah.
But everything that Dickens and all of those writers that we hear of, everything that they did, he's doing, but for a TV show. So, for example, you have three sisters. All three sisters have their place. The oldest sister has to win, always, period. That is her role in the show. It's not her role in the family, because realistically, oldest siblings don't always win. I should know. The youngest sister has to be the flagrant one, the one that's, just as beautiful as the oldest, but she doesn't have the responsibility of the oldest, so she can do whatever she wants and get away with it because she's daddy's favorite. She's,
And she's
whatever.
also got some of that youngest, like, I want to be, I don't see why I have to follow the rules. Like, I'm gonna wear pants in the 20s.
Yes, but she's also the sweetest about it because she doesn't have the pressure of the oldest. And then the middle sister, Jen's favorite. No, I'm kidding.
Who?
Edith. Edith is your classic middle child who, woe is me, why was I not born the oldest? My oldest sister is prettier than me. My younger sister is prettier than me. My younger sister is kinder than me. My older sister is smarter than me. Woe is me, woe is me, woe is me, woe is me.
And won't lift a
so
finger to change that.
where does that,
Right, because she's the true aristocrat.
Yeah.
If we're going to go for that.
So where does Daphne come into the mix?
Daphne.
The one that made out with the Count. Married the Count eventually.
Couldn't find the glasses.
What are you referencing?
I totally got.
I'm glad somebody... Didn't the wink give you...
I know it's... But what are you referencing? I don't know what you're referencing.
asking about Daphne.
I forgot about Bridgerton. First of all, we'd be dealing with Daphne's descendants
Thank you.
because they're two
You're
separate
welcome.
time periods.
Yes, we literally went over this already.
They're 100 years apart. Oh.
This is Andrew we're talking about, though. So
man.
you knew this was coming, and I don't know how you all did
One
not
out of 10.
see it.
Okay, this show's been out for 10 years.
We're
We can-
spoiling it, just so you know.
Okay.
Scale of 1 to 10, how much does Sybil's death still hurt?
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. That episode is still the hardest for me to watch. Easily. Because
I'm angry just thinking about it.
Again, that's another reason that the show excels. I told you, I watch it twice a year and have since it aired. And Sybil's death is still this, like, it's as if I'm seeing it for the first time, even though I know it's coming.
How does Matthew's death hit you?
Quite differently than yours. Than it does you.
Because I'm a Mary Crawley apologist. I get it.
No,
I
love.
understand.
Listen, I love Mary, but I love Mary without Matthew as much as I love her.
No,
maybe even a little bit more than I love her with Matthew.
I continue to love her through all 6 seasons.
No, I know, but I am a huge fan of post Matthew Mary, if only because she's free, and I like that. I like that she's able to have 3 men around her in a drawing room, and her parents jokingly go, "Well, dang, she's had more courtship here than she's ever had in her whole life," and she's laughing with them, and like she can go on it.
She would have laughed with Matthew.
Oh God, okay, fine, but like I don't know. There's something about post Matthew Mary that's just charming to me. Pre or with Matthew Mary is just savage, and I like her for that too. Yeah. So. Clearly our favorite character is Mary. Easily. Yeah, she's easily my favorite character.
I love her.
Yeah.
To death.
Yes.
I should follow up on it. Some of the dissent on Reddit that I picked up on earlier today was that some people are upset that Mary apparently ends up happy.
That's because people think Mary is too mean.
She
Especially
is.
to poor little Edith.
She is.
Who's never done anything wrong in her life.
Okay. Clearly, okay. You have to give your version first.
Clearly, Jen has been in the fandom and knows.
I don't know anything about it.
I don't actually know anything about fandom either, but I'm much kinder about Edith than Jen
I just find her annoying. And I realize this probably makes me unkind at heart. But, like, every single time Edith goes, no, somebody was mean to me again. I'm like, okay, and you're going to cry about it, and then you're not going to do anything. And then you're going to be surprised when it happens again next episode. Like, I don't like Edith until she gets the newspaper.
Even then, Edith...
or at least I tolerate her more because she's at least, like, she is actively doing something. Like, she gets to have her own thing to control, which she has desperately wanted for the past 4 seasons.
Yeah, so I think the thing that I appreciate about Edith as a character is how she just doesn't give up. Like, and
She
I
is
think
determined.
she's
We can give her
very tenacious, like, in the sense that in the, like, first couple of seasons, she causes all of her own problems. You know, she just does.
In the last couple of seasons, she causes her own problems.
Well, okay, here's where you and
To
I...
be fair, she has input of other people helping
here's
who
where
are
we-
enabling the problem to be caused.
Here's
but-
where we verge, okay? So, in the first couple of seasons, yes, she causes her own problems. I mean, just constantly. I'm just like, girl, stop it. Then, you know, after Sir Anthony Strallen, Google it, I'm not explaining
worst.
it. But even that was a causing of her own problem. Like, they told you, girl, like, leave him alone. He broken. He came back from the war with a broken hand. Like, you don't want none of this. And she's like, but. And they're like, you don't want none of this. So when he leaves her at the altar, she throws a fit. And I'm just like, girl, you were told. Like, you were told.
Okay.
But on the flip
But
side,
the one thing I hate about
the
that
youngest
is that
daughter,
like nobody trusts Edith to make up her own opinion on this.
because she's an idiot.
They need to switch
Like,
the team.
True.
There's a reason you don't trust Edith, because she's stupid. Because when we do trust Edith, watch what happens. What does Edith do? She finds herself in the office of an editor of a newspaper who wants to buy her column. And she's like, yay. And he flirts with her. So she's like, double yay. Then she does some digging to find out that he's married, right? So she goes to his office, chews him out until he tells her, my wife is insane. And once you have declared your wife insane, you cannot divorce her. Period. So, sorry. What does Edith do? She goes, oh my God, so you flirted with me because you wanted to? You poor soul. Let me date you out of sympathy. Stupid! Who trusts someone who's going to do that? So she does. What happens? She lays with him
Possibly,
in
yeah, look.
sin because he's going to Germany to get divorced so that they can get married in Germany. Now, mind you, this is right around the time that a certain brown-shirted, spider-wearing
Yeah.
group starts to stir and the Nazis kill her.
Spoiler alert, it doesn't go well for him.
Right, the Nazis kill her baby daddy. She wouldn't have been a baby daddy if she hadn't laid with the dude. Like,
Okay, but our girl Mary did also have premarital sex, as we may have pointed out once or twice previously on this podcast.
yes, but Mary has a murder snatch for her. So, she killed the Turkish diplomat by laying with him. It's a thing. I get it.
The murder snatch needs to be brought to justice. How come we never hear about that?
I mean, you do. Here again, that's my point.
And then they cover it up.
They cover it up, and then they cover it up again, because again, this is the structure of the show. Mary always wins. Always wins. So how does she win with the murder snatch situation? Her mother covers it up. And then when her father finds out about it several seasons later,
Yeah.
when it could do actual, not quite as much damage, but it could still do
She's
some,
at least been
some
married by then.
damage to her, her father pays off the woman with a 50-pound note and goes, yeah, and if you ever tell anybody that you've reneged on this agreement that you actually signed for, I will report you to the police. I'm just like, that's it? Whereas Edith has to go through sending her baby to Switzerland, or having the baby in Switzerland, adopting the baby to a Swiss family, knowing her child is out there and trying to return to the land of the living amongst the English, hide her pregnancy from everybody. She doesn't succeed. Then she brings the baby back against everybody's advice. Again, stupid. And then she tries to hide the baby on one of the farms. You see where this is going?
Yeah.
Edith can never win until the very, 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 very end, in which she outranks everybody by marrying well. I mean,
Do you think Edith's character is written dumb, or do you think
is she dumb because she's written to be dumb?
Yes.
But
make
Mary
poor
is written to be smart. She's not actually all that intelligent. She just is advantageous. Why? Because she's the oldest. She has to win. I mean, it's a thing. I mean, her father is dumb. If we're going to talk about stupid
Original
characters.
himbo Robert.
Yeah, Robert Carlyle is
The
not a
dumbest man alive.
I think the only intelligent character in the show is Maggie Smith.
Yes.
Because,
It's Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith. Maybe O'Brien.
She's
I have 3.
scheming.
You have 3?
She is.
Okay.
Why?
She is. She's.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this.
Yeah. Are we what?
Wait, we were chatting a little bit about like the snot or the smack.
Oh god.
This
We didn't even
episode.
get to discuss Tom Branson.
Well, go for Branson.
Branson's my favorite.
Why is
I
he your
know.
favorite?
Branson, yeah. So I said Mary's my favorite character. Branson's actually my favorite character.
That's
Branson
okay, because
is,
you having Tom and me having Mary
Yeah.
works incredibly well.
Now, you may or may not have heard Tony describe, the kind of men that Tony tends to date. But, a honk once, if this sounds familiar, paler than the sun, beautiful bright red hair, brassy as like he's got an attitude and is not afraid to use it. And I don't know what he's very good looking, but like I don't know what it is about him that I just find
I gotta look him
so
up.
I was
hard.
literally about to say, I'm right here, and then they said brassy, and I'm like, okay, never mind.
He's hardworking.
What's his name?
Tom Branson. He's hardworking. He's actually intelligent because he reads
Yes.
far above his station and writes well, and
Yes.
I don't know. He just
And he's smart enough to not get arrested in a socialist plot to murder the king.
oh god, that movie, that plot, all of it.
Oh, Alan Leach.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's because he's well acted. I mean, they're all well acted.
Yeah.
They're pretty even performances.
But I feel
all
like
around,
Branson
but,
just gets good stuff to work with.
yeah,
And he is
Yeah.
the sort of when we talk about plausibility and how is this if the aristocracy would act, he is you have to suspend granted, yes.
Yeah.
It's not like an immediate acceptance into the family once he marries Sybil.
No,
and,
he has to
they
have a
the
kid
baby.
first.
Yeah. But even after Sybil's death, they could have turfed him out the door, kept the baby, and kept going, which is probably
yes,
how
but
a lot-
you forget the American mother,
Yes.
who knows how it feels to be a stranger amongst the aristocrats of Britain, who
Yeah.
doesn't quite understand, and she's like, and her husband's a himbo. Remember, he's
Yeah.
kind but stupid. So she says, if you ever throw my son-in-law and his daughter, my granddaughter, out on the street, I will
Once we
make
have
your
the family
life.
tree.
Yeah. I will be going with them.
Yeah, right. So, due diligence is done, but you're right. It's definitely a stretch.
Yeah. Especially
Yes,
the
please.
whole I love it, but he marries the cousin's secret daughter, Tuppence Middleton, in the movie.
Yeah, you know what? That's the difference. Let's talk about slightly differences between the movies and the show. Now, I have not seen the new movie. I'm excited to go see
Yeah,
it.
I'm very much
It
ready
looks
to
like
go.
a romp, but the
Who did
difference-
Maggie Smith sleep with in France?
Yeah,
At the
right.
house?
Wait, did
Exactly. No,
Wait, what?
Yeah,
That's in the
that's
trailers.
the plot. Yes,
that has
Um,
been revealed.
I want to know because here's the thing: the movie, the first one, diverges from the show in tone for me because it forsakes all plausibility, completely. And I knew they were gonna do it, but I didn't know they were gonna do it that hard. Once you have royals coming to Downton, plausibility out the window. But it just leaned in even harder, and I was just like, okay, fine. The show always did its homework.
It finally stopped putting Anna and Bates through the misery ringer.
That's true. And I think that's another part. I mean, I don't know. I
You
don't
wanted
know.
them to be miserable
No,
again?
not them in particular. But I feel like the formula that you have to have for a movie as opposed to a TV series is so different that he did really well with this show when it was a show, and middling when it was
That's
a
fair.
movie.
There's just more room to breathe in the TV series.
Yeah.
So you can have your housemaid meet the love of her life, have him find out he's married, unsuccessfully obtain a divorce, successfully obtain a divorce, get arrested for murdering the wife, get exonerated for murdering the wife, have her get arrested, also for murdering the wife still.
Yeah. Yes.
Finally get both of them out of jail and married to each other.
Yeah, the one murder of that.
And then she keeps losing their babies.
Yeah, the one murder of that one wife. Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't even get to the sexual assault that happens out of nowhere. That I still
Oh
am
God,
just
I
like,
hate
I'm
that.
like,
have
why?
5 minutes.
I hate
Yes.
when rape is just a random
have-
plot point like
Yeah,
that,
5
thrown
minutes.
in just to make things more complicated.
So I have to make this clear. Everybody lost their ever-loving minds when Sansa happened, right?
Yeah.
And I always found that to be just so, I'm like, do y'all watch this show? This is a show that has some kind of minor sexual assault happening on screen every episode.
I think the more
Let alone, we saw this coming with Sansa. Like, just because Joffrey didn't do it doesn't mean that, like, it wasn't coming. Like, I don't know how you didn't see that coming. It wasn't random. It wasn't unforeseen. It was baked into the Westeros, like, plan of action.
In the show, though. But
Like,
it's baked
that's what I'm
into
saying.
the show,
Yeah.
but not the book.
Maybe. I don't know if that's... I don't know.
Completely separate plot.
I don't
Yeah.
know. But the point is that, like, and the same thing happened with Cersei, where people are like, but that's ridiculous. And I'm like,
Literally
it's
every
not.
single
It's not.
episode.
Like, it just isn't. In Downton Abbey, there's no reason, literally none at all,
They just decided to go
to
there you
have
go.
a sexual assault plot with this particular character. If you had a different character come on, because that is one thing the show does with the downstairs crew, because it's constantly shifting, because that's what would have really happened. Again, aristocratic view of the world. So you have characters come on, and the one maid, her whole purpose is to show that Robert cheats on his wife. Or at least once. Or is capable of it. Like, he's not infallible, he's not holy, he is not perfect. He cheated on his wife with a maid.
Yeah.
So, and then she's gone. You never see her again, you don't really ever care. Other characters have this. The one housemaid is literally meant to show how difficult it is to be a upwardly mobile woman if you're already poor and then you have a baby out of wedlock.
Yes.
Like, so why they couldn't just bring in another housemaid to have the sexual assault conversation? Because the show is constantly saying, here's how women in this decade that we're exploring would have lived life from all angles.
Yeah.
Why they didn't just bring in a housemaid to make that point, and they had to have it happen to a major character? It's a little thin to be like, well, because you would have felt it more.
No, because Bates and Anna are the misery porn of this entire show. Like,
Yeah,
literally, until...
Yeah.
Literally, she does not give birth until the series finale.
Yeah.
Like, they are finally happy in literally the last 3 minutes of the entire series.
Well, you know, it's true. So, yeah.
Like, everyone else... Because, like, the thing is, everyone else at least gets, like, highs and lows. And Anna and Bates are like, here's a shovel and we're going to keep digging.
They bait you along the plot, though. They really, really do. They get you.
Like, you
I've
just
had this
know
smack.
that when everyone else has been a little too happy this episode, I'm like, something bad's going to happen to Anna and Bates now.
Except the one episode where it happened to Sybil.
Fair.
Can we make you two unhappy?
Go. What's the smack?
It means nothing to me, but I hope it riles your feathers.
I hope it does.
Ruffles your feathers. Edith, Mary, and Matthew Crawley.
Ooh.
Oh! Wait.
Well, you kill Edith.
Oh.
Well, you
kill
kill
Edith. Yes, because, yes.
Wasn't she nice?
No! That's the part. That's even worse. She's, not only is she like, woe is me, and then she's dumb, but she's also rude. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, girl, really?
Like, at least Mary is, like, cutting. Like,
Yeah.
funny. Like,
Right.
kind of witty. Edith
Yes.
is just kind of terrible.
Edith is just mean. Like, she's like, oh, okay, I'll get one over on you. And then she does, and then wants to whine about it when you get over on her. Like, girl, sit down.
Edith
sorry.
doesn't know how the game is played.
Because, well, yeah, exactly. So you kill Edith. You can make it look like an accident because her
I
stupid
feel
behind
like
would have done it anyway.
We're probably going to differ here. I feel like I personally would just enjoy a marriage with Matthew. Long term. Like, long term, that feels like the red call for me personally, which means I get one really excellent night with Mary. Hopefully not the same way things happen to Mr. Famoose. Call it a day.
Honestly, yes. That is, I would agree with that. Yeah, I love Matthew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's so good.
Yeah.
See, what I was going to try to do to you was Matthew Branson,
Wait,
what's
that's
his face, who Edith marries.
5 o'clock, yeah.
Matthew Branson.
Birdie?
Birdie. Okay, first of all, kill Birdie. Kill the Marquis. Start a war.
Start a war.
I would
You
marry Tom.
Yes, I know you would.
Yeah, and have fun with Matthew, though. Like, I would be like, Tom, give me a week. Because Matthew cannot be done in a night, okay? Like, give me a week.
See, I feel like we agree on who to kill, and then we would just flip-flop.
Flip-flop for her to marry.
That, yeah.
Yeah, because Birdie's boring.
Yeah.
If we were to change it up really quick and go Edith, Mary, and Sybil.
You still kill
Again, you
Edith.
kill Edith.
I would probably marry
I'm going
Mary in
home.
that regard.
Would you still marry Mary?
I would marry Mary. But you know who I am.
Yes,
So
you would
long,
marry Mary, and that's what
farewell.
surprises me. Sybil, I
I love
thought was
Sybil.
going to be so much more your character, and no, the savagery
Nope,
that is
I
Mary.
imprinted on Mary like a
Really
baby
fast.
duckling.
From
From like moment one, I was like, "That's the girl. That's for
I
me."
think I would marry Sybil because that would, if I could convince Sybil to marry me, that would prove that I'm actually a quality human being.
That's fair.
Because if Sybil can,
Mary and I would have a lot of fun together.
yeah, it's true. Well, oh God, I can't imagine. Oh,
How would you like to unleash that on the world?
the monarchy would shake in fear.
Yeah.
They would have to.
Good.
The House of Windsor would have thought that they had the throne for the rest of the time.